What's going on, guys? It's Brandon. You're watching Unwind. Today we have the Jour Coral Diver. This watch was sent in by a longtime viewer of the channel, so thanks a lot. I really appreciate it. This is from the company Jour. Some of you guys may have not heard of them, but they've actually been around from since the 60s. They are a Swiss brand, so this is a Swiss-made watch here, and it's coming in right at around $800. At that price point, we have a lot of competition, but I think this watch actually offers a lot of bang for buck, and let me tell you guys why. This is a 42 millimeter dive watch, as you would think by the name, Coral Diver. We are getting 200 meters of water resistance with a screw down crown. The case, the bracelet is all 316L stainless steel. The dial is textured. There's quite a nice texturing and sheen to the dial that's supposed to look like a whirlpool. I know a couple different brands have been using this style of dial lately. We'll definitely take a nice close look at that later in the video. The bezel is a ceramic insert. There is Lume on the bezel, as well as the indices, C3 Swiss Lume, so we're getting some very nice lume, and the indices are done very well. Just looking at the watch, it definitely looks more expensive than its price point would suggest. This watch is $800, so there's definitely a lot of competition, but looking at the bezel, at the dial, there's depth to it. We have a nice sapphire crystal, dome sapphire crystal, and it just definitely gives off that look that it's the quality is there. It definitely looks more expensive than I would think for the $800 price point. Looking at the bracelet here, most of it is brushed, but it is polished on the sides of the links, and we actually have the same thing in the center links. The center of them are brushed, but the side of the center links are polished, and it just gives off a really nice look when it's on wrist. And I think that lends itself again to just how much this watch does offer for the money, because a lot of brands would just do one finishing, either polished or brushed, and kind of take that cheaper way out. One of my critiques of the bracelet would be no micro adjustments at this price point, and there are pin collars to the bracelet, which is my least favorite way to do the pins. Looking at the bezel, it's super tight, very high quality. I'm very impressed with the bezel, for the money. It looks great. It feels great. It's actually finished. You can see like on the edge of the bezel there's like some texturing to it, so it's easier to grip. It just looks a little bit different than what's done with most brands. That's another thing, another reason why I like this watch. It has its own very unique looking styling with its integrated bracelet, with the sides of the bezel, everything about it, the case shape. It's pretty unique. At this price point, a lot of brands are kind of, copy and paste of a Rolex Submariner, but not this. In the sunlight or in direct light is really where this watch is going to come alive. We are able to see that amazing dial, which I really like dial texturing on watches, and you usually don't get that at this price point. You usually got to spend a lot more money to have that kind of texturing, and I think it looks really good here when it's on wrist. You get a lot of different looks depending on exactly where that light source is going to be, and we can definitely get a look here too at the lume, guys. You can kind of see it. It looks like it's glowing. I'm out here in direct sunlight. The lume is very nicely done. It is very bright. So sometimes even, in daylight, you're going to get that gleam there. So you can see that lume's being activated. Turning this watch around, looking at the case back, guys, it's engraved very nicely. We have like a little bit of rippling effects with some coral, which makes sense. It's the Coral Diver. And that's another thing that just, adds to the overall presence of this watch. I don't feel like they skimped out anywhere. You're definitely getting a lot of bang for your buck with the Jour Coral Diver. So we have the ceramics insert. We have the Sellita SW200. We have 200 meters of water resistance. We have the very well done finishing on the bracelet in the case. What isn't there to like about this watch? The viewer who lent it in stated that he believes the watch is top heavy. I tend to agree. I've had it on wrist now for the week, and it does feel top heavy. This watch is 42 millimeters, so it is like a little bit of a larger size, but it really isn't that big. My Omega is 42 millimeters. I've had on other 42 millimeter watches, my Rolex Explorer 2, but this watch is 14 millimeters thick. My Rolex Explorer 2 has a GMT function jammed in there, and it's only 13 millimeters thick, so this is a lot thicker than that. It's like 2 millimeters thicker than a Submariner. So it's pretty thick for only 200 meters of water resistance. I think they probably should have tried to push it up to 300 meters or more, because it's okay if a dive watch is a little bit thick, but I think for just the fact that it only has 200 meters of water resistance, you would think that maybe they would have been able to make it a little bit slimmer. For the price, I don't think it's a deal breaker, but it is, just something to consider if you are in the market for this watch. So again, overall, I think this watch has a lot to offer. I would definitely like to check out Lejour's other models, see if they are done as nicely as the Coral Diver. But the couple things I would fix, on a future model, try to make the watch just a little bit slimmer, maybe add some micro adjustments in the bracelet. Don't use the pin and collar system for the links. It's the hardest system to deal with, at home. But let me know what you guys think of this watch down in the comments. Have you heard of this company before? Do you have any experience with this company? And big thanks out again to my viewer who lent this watch in for review. I really appreciate it. So I'll catch you guys on the next one. Thank you. One quick thing I want to add, we're going to throw it at the end like a little Easter egg, like a Marvel movie. If you guys stuck around all the way to the end, you get to see this. I want to talk about the box, because a lot of watchers at this price point slacks in that department, but this box is actually very well made. It's a nice, very shiny, thick, heavy wood. It kind of reminds me of the box on my Panerai, which is like an $8,000 watch. So if that's something you care about, that's another thing, to consider with this watch. But good job on the box, Lejour. All right, guys, I'll catch you on the next one.